$13,000 a year per student? That's the gap between two California school districts 15 minutes apart. And in Colorado this week, a whole session's worth of law took effect without anyone casting a vote.
Plus, the letter that asks a sick person to justify a treatment their insurer already approved. From Amendment, this is the 10th.
Tick, 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 tock, lights on, this is our sound. 10 voices rising, shaking the ground. From the street to the steps where the deals go down. Welcome to the 10th now. The 10th, hey! Turn it up right now. The 10th, yeah! We don't back down. Truth in the beat, fire in the sound. This is the 10th.
You were approved. Hold on to that part because it matters later. Approved for what? A course of treatment. Back in the spring, a doctor said you needed it. Your insurance company reviewed the request and the answer came back yes. So you started.
Okay, and?
And partway through, an envelope shows up. Same condition, same prescription, same doctor. Nothing about you has changed, but your insurer needs to review it again.
Right in the middle of the thing they already said yes to.
It isn't a denial. It isn't a bill. It's the same question asked a second time. And until somebody answers it, you wait. This is your briefing for Sunday, August 16th, what state legislatures and Congress actually did this week. I'm one of the hosts of the 10th from Amendment at amendment.app. And that envelope is the subject of a bill that survived a California committee on Thursday. 2 doors down, the same afternoon, a different health bill ended, and nobody's name is recorded on the vote that ended it. Congress is in August recess. Most legislatures went home months ago. So this week, deadlines and calendar dates moved as much law as votes did. Let's start in Sacramento. Thursday, August 13th, California's fiscal committee spent the day clearing what's called the suspense file, the holding pen where expensive bills wait to be disposed of in a batch. We walked through the mechanics last week. This week is about what came out of it. Because the deadline was the next day, August 14th. 2 bills, same crunch, opposite endings. Start with the one that lived, Senate Bill 951. It would require California employers to report jobs they permanently stop hiring for because of technology, even if nobody gets laid off. That's the part that makes it unusual. Most notice laws in this country are triggered by a layoff. A plant closes, a shift gets cut, and the employer has to file. This one reaches the job that simply stops being posted, the position that quietly never comes back. And you report that to whom? The state. And it goes further than a head count. It asks for the vendor, the company that sold the employer the system doing the work.
So you'd see not just how many jobs went, but what replaced them?
On Thursday, Assembly Appropriations moved it 10-3. The Senate had already passed it 28-9 in May. And the bill that didn't make it? Assembly Bill 2651, the Informed Parents Healthy Schools Act. It would have had the state health department set the immunization rate a school needs to keep a communicable disease from spreading. If a school fell below that rate, the department would tell the school, and the school would tell parents within 10 business days.
So a notification.
A notification translated into any language spoken by 15% or more of the students enrolled there. The Assembly passed it 59-13 in May. Then what happened Thursday? It went onto the suspense file on August 3rd, and that vote was recorded, 7-0. On August 13th, it did not advance, and no roll call was recorded on the action that ended it. We're not going to tell you why. We don't know, and neither does anyone reading the file. What we can tell you is the difference between the two. One of those bills has a number next to every member's name. The other one just stopped.
Let's go back to that envelope, because that's the 3rd California bill, and it's the one worth slowing down for.
Assembly Bill 539. And to understand it, you have to understand prior authorization, which is a phrase that sounds procedural and isn't.
Give me the plain version.
Prior authorization is permission in advance. Before certain treatments, certain drugs, certain scans, your doctor can't just order it. She has to ask your insurance company first, and the company has to say yes.
Most people know that part.
People know the first ask. What they usually don't know is that the yes has a shelf life. It can expire while you are still inside the treatment it approved.
Say that again slowly because it sounds like a mistake.
You're on a course of treatment. The diagnosis hasn't changed, the prescription hasn't changed, your doctor hasn't changed her mind about any of it. But the authorization was written for a window, and the window closes.
So the treatment is still right. The paperwork just aged out.
And the whole thing restarts. The office pulls your chart, refiles the request, sends it back in. Someone at the plan reviews a question that was already answered. And in the space between those two things, you are a person who was on a treatment and is now waiting to be back on it. How long is that gap? That's the part that isn't fixed anywhere. It's however long the review takes.
So what does the bill do about it?
It changes one thing, and only one thing. How long the yes lasts. Once your plan approves it, that approval is good for at least a year, or for the full course of the treatment if the treatment runs shorter than a year.
That's the whole bill?
All of it. It doesn't change what gets approved. It doesn't change who decides. It says the decision stands for the length of the thing it decided about.
Which means nobody in the middle of a course of treatment gets asked to justify it a second time.
On Thursday, it came off the suspense file, 5-0. The assembly had passed it 64-2 in May of last year.
64-2, and it's been sitting since then?
15 months, waiting for a committee to let it move.
Now to Colorado, where the interesting thing this week is that nobody voted at all.
Nobody voted and the law changed?
Colorado's legislature adjourned on May 13th. A bill passed there without what they call a safety clause takes effect 90 days after adjournment. 90 days after May 13th is Wednesday, August 12th.
So, overnight Tuesday, a whole session's worth of law switches on.
12:01 in the morning, Wednesday. Two of them are worth naming, and they have nothing to do with each other, which is sort of the point of a date.
Go ahead.
Colorado's Senate Bill 11 covered online platforms, the big services that hold your messages and your account records, now have to keep a line open to Colorado law enforcement at all hours, a staffed hotline.
Staffed, not a web form.
Staffed. And there are 2 clocks. When a Colorado search warrant arrives, the platform has to acknowledge it within 8 hours, and it has to comply within 72.
What if 72 hours genuinely isn't enough?
A court can extend it, but the judge has to put the good cause in writing. The attorney general or a district attorney enforces it. The House passed it 57-5, and the Senate repassed it 32-2 after the House made changes. Sponsors from both parties.
And the second one?
Senate Bill 32, which does 2 things. Pharmacists in Colorado can now prescribe vaccines on their own, not just administer them.
And the other thing?
The State Board of Health can rely on recommendations from major physicians organizations, the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Academy of Family Physicians among them, rather than only the Federal Advisory Committee. The Senate passed that one 20-12, the House 43-19. Both decided back in March, though. Passed in March, signed in March, and switched on this Wednesday by the calendar.
One more from California, and this one turns on a number.
Monday, August 10th. The California Senate passed Senate Constitutional Amendment 5, 27-9.
27? Is that a lot?
It's exactly enough. A constitutional amendment needs 2/3 of a 40-member Senate. 2/3 of 40 is 26 2/3, so it takes 27, not one vote to spare.
What does it do?
It's called the Education Equalization Act, and the number that actually explains it isn't 27.
What is it?
2 school districts in Santa Clara County, a few miles apart. Palo Alto Unified spends $29,876 per pupil. Milpitas Unified spends $16,504.
In the same county.
Same county, same state, same year, and about a 15-minute drive between them. $13,372 a year of difference standing behind each student.
Where does a gap like that come from?
From how California funds schools, which is a genuinely complicated formula, and we're not going to pretend to settle it in a sentence. What the amendment proposes is a new account, an Education Equalization Reserve account, funded out of future growth in state general fund revenue and pointed at raising per-pupil funding in the districts and community colleges that have historically had less.
Taking it from the districts that have more?
No, and that's written in. No existing district's funding gets cut to pay for it. It comes out of growth.
So, is this law now?
It isn't close to law. It passed one chamber. It still needs the assembly, and then, because it's a constitutional amendment, it goes to California's voters.
All three of those California bills are still moving, by the way, and you can see exactly where each one sits at amendment.app.
One from Washington, and it's short this week because Congress is in August recess.
It is. No floor votes, no markups. What there was introductions, and one of them lands on a fight that's been running in state houses all summer.
Data centers.
House Bill 10,102, introduced Thursday. It would amend the federal tax code to create a data center electricity excise tax. A tax on the power the building draws. On the electricity. And that is genuinely all we can tell you because that's all that has happened. It's an introduction, no hearing scheduled, no committee has taken it up, nobody has voted on anything.
Worth saying out loud because a bill number is not a law.
It isn't. Meanwhile, the same argument keeps getting settled in state houses. Who pays for the wires? Who gets a vote on where one goes? Whose electric bill absorbs the upgrade? Those are live decisions. This one is a bill number in August.
We'll tell you if it moves.
A few numbers to land with from this week.
8 hours. The window a covered platform now has to acknowledge a Colorado search warrant.
27. The votes California's Senate needed to hit 2/3 and exactly the number it got.
$13,372, the per-pupil gap between two districts in one California county.
10 business days. How fast a California school would have had to tell parents about a low immunization rate under the bill that ended Thursday with no recorded vote.
And 1 year. That's how long an approved prior authorization would last under Assembly Bill 539.
On public pressure. ResistBot's biggest campaigns this week pointed at Washington rather than the state houses. An inquiry into the USS Abraham Lincoln's 9-month deployment, blocking funding for electric shock gloves for immigration officers, and restoring United States funding to the World Health Organization. Public health showed up in the numbers, too. The CDC has confirmed 2,371 measles cases this year, the highest national total since 1991.
And one follow-up. 2 weeks ago, we led with Massachusetts House Bill 5595, which deletes the state's 24-week line on abortion and leaves the call to the treating physician. It was still unsigned when we recorded that one.
Governor Maura Healey signed it on Monday, August 10th. It takes effect in 90 days.
So back to that envelope.
Somebody in the middle of a course of treatment, already approved, opening a letter that asks the same question a second time. Nothing about them changed. Only the calendar did.
And on Thursday, a committee in Sacramento voted 5-0 to say that a yes should last as long as the treatment it approved.
That bill has a long way to go. But that was the thing actually on the table this week. Not whether the treatment is right, but how long the answer stays good. For the full text, the status, and a plain English breakdown of any bill we mentioned today, head to amendment.app. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, follow the show so it turns up on its own next Sunday. And if you've got 20 seconds, leave a review. It genuinely helps people find us. Thanks for listening to The 10th. We'll see you next Sunday.
If they lock the gate, we move as one. If they change the rules, we don't run. No more borrowed truth, no more fake grace. We raise our flags in a different place. Today